2015 would see the beginning of the modern series of mall tours. Still hard to believe that this is 8 years ago, but it was 2015 that laid the framework for what would be to come. And what would be to come would be a series of mall adventures that I never thought possible. Even right off the bat, you're going to hear what my initial thoughts were about Mall Tour making any kind of comeback starting on July 20th.
All right, here we are again, Mall Tour 2015, which I cannot believe is a thing. Going to West Farms Mall in Farmington or West Hartford, depending on which version of the directions you look at. We only got lost once on the way here, so this is already going better than the other three mall tours.
That wasn't our fault.
Yeah, sure, not our fault.
So yes, it is true that Mall Tour 2015 was not the first Mall Tour season. That would actually be 2009. Then it saw a brief return in 2010 before finally it just kind of went dormant for the next 4 years. And the reason for that, I'm not really sure. It just wasn't really happening. I had work, school, other things going on. But 2015 would spark the return of the Mall Tour, due in big part to Caitlin, who actually suggested I try it again. And so this first trip to West Farms Mall would be one of the more memorable stops on the tour.
This is for mall episodes number 16, riding the elevator up and down.
My favorite.
Single floor.
We did it.
Floor elevator ride.
We did it.
For good reason, because this again is how the mall tour got restarted. In West Farms Mall, we visited with Caitlin and my friends Kurt and Kristen at the time, and just this was a great testing ground, but things would only continue from there. The second stop of the 2015 mall tour would show us going to Providence Place Mall in what also became infamous for seeing the movie Pixels.
Seeing Pixels at the IMAX. Here we go. Pixels? Oh, no. Is that Kubert? It really is Kubert.
Now, this was not like an ironic thing. This was not me trying to be like funny or whatever. I actually wanted to see the movie Pixels with Adam Sandler. Now, I realize this isn't seen as one of his better movies, and that's saying something, but I was legitimate in my desire to see Pixels, and so it kind of ended up hijacking this mall tour adventure. And while it was still about seeing the Providence Place Mall, it was pretty much about seeing the movie Pixels.
Power pellets and how they turned into blue cars, and this thing went through the back of the freaking parking garage and he ate them, and it's like, boom.
Now you move on to the third mall tour stop of 2015, and that's where, I go to one of my favorite malls of all time, for whatever reason, Emerald Square Mall. Now, Emerald Square Mall has seen an appearance in every single mall tour season. It's the only mall to do that. It's going back to 2009. It's just kind of a thing that happened that I just had to make sure it was on every single mall tour. And this would be a trip that I would take with my friend John, longtime friend John. And, it was nothing amazing. It was nothing like spectacular, but it almost kind of worked. Like, to this point, all three stops of the mall tour had like a completely different flavor to them. And this would continue into the fourth mall tour stop, which was for me a new mall to see at the time, Warwick Mall. So this time I was going out of state, a whole one state over, to Rhode Island, to see the Warwick Mall, which again was not anything incredible, the mall itself, but I had a really great time, again with Caitlin, who came along for this one. We went to Buffalo Wild Wings, we stopped at Target, Old Navy, all the usual stores, FYE, etc. And again, this was the first quote-unquote new mall tour, and it was the fourth stop of this little mini stretch I was trying. Now, the 2009 mall tour season to this point had been the only other one to be this long. 2009, I hit about 4 malls in 5 or 6 months. So we were looking at about the same thing here. And then in October of 2009, the mall tour was supposed to wrap up with Buckland Hills Mall. I actually called this the 5th and final stop of the tour. And I went that night with my friends John and Jeff, and we just had a really great time, including this classic line.
I was like, you know what? I can tolerate a mall tour today.
It's a beautiful day for a mall tour.
Shut up, we're trying to make a video over here. And our my plans changed slightly at the last minute due to the rain, so I was like, fuck it, I'll come.
And also, this kind of began the long-running joke, this and other events, that I never buy anything at any of the mall tours.
Yeah, I did.
$5.19.
$5.19. First time in mall tour history, I am buying something besides candy.
Low battery. Dismiss.
Me going to malls and me loving going to malls was nothing completely new before the mall tour. Like, I had always gone to our local mall, the Crystal Mall, and even West Farms Mall once in a while. But, this was kind of, the next level, making these videos about it. And just kind of always having these templates where I would show my friends and I having fun in the intros. I wrote my own theme song, which actually the theme song would change slightly every single iteration of Mall Tour 2015. But, this was actually a really good mall tour. And actually, I should stop right there. It wasn't over yet. There was a 6th unplanned mall tour stop, which would wrap things up in Holyoke, Massachusetts. At the time, this was, again, another new mall for me to see, getting a little bit outside of my comfort zone, which is something we'd see a lot more of going forward. But this was a trip that was mainly brought on by necessity. This was a day that my friends Caitlin, Ben, and I were going to go to Six Flags, if I remember correctly, but they were closed that day because none of us bothered to look at a calendar and see that Fright Fest wasn't going on that day. So we ended up going to a mall in Massachusetts instead, the Holyoke Mall, which became the 6th and actual final stop of the 2015 mall tour.
And how does that make you feel?
Hungry.
So when I look back at the totality of the 2015 mall tour, no, it wasn't like the greatest season, but it had some really iconic moments. It had sort of, you could see the framework building for what would be the future. My friends making funny quips about it, for better or worse. Like, the mall tour has become kind of this lampoon of, like, you know, just the parody of how ridiculous it is, but also the genuine joy that I get out of it and that my friends at times get out of it. All of that was on display in this early display of the mall tour. And I was pretty excited about it. Excited enough, of course, that Mall Tour 2016 would just build on that even more. And I can't wait to talk about that one next, because that is truly where things really started to take off. But Mall Tour 2015 went better than I could have expected. So this, you know, this kind of testing ground, you could say, survived the test. The rest is, as they say, history. And now we are going into essentially the 8th season, 9th season. We're going into the finale of the mall tour very soon with the Mall Tour of America, which I hope you all check out, coming this summer to Bowie Productions. Thank you for watching. This has been the retrospective of Mall Tour 2015.
The mall tour will never be over. Not until you're one of us.